As you may have probably seen in my previous video where I got cut off, mainly due to the phone shutting down. Unfortunately, I did not check the battery level as we were recording it. So, at least part of it probably got mixing, part got lost in the process, but nevertheless, thank you all for joining me. Now, as we were talking about the alliance in particular. Now, I think where we left off was the. Mm, Let me just give you one quick moment. Sorry about that. I think have to deal with the notifications in particular. So yeah, okay. Now there shouldn't be any more other notifications in process. So let's go ahead and go forward with where we left off. Now, currently, technically where we were building was kind of unnecessary, so this will be the last banner that I've informed all of the Alliance members, including my officers in particular, because recently, as some of you may have recalled, that I just recently got the leadership position as of today. Within the game itself, of course, this is just a game, but sometimes people dive in really deeply when it comes to these kind of games, so just keep that in mind. And I, for one, was one of them, honestly speaking, because when I first started out this game, I basically grinded like I just did for only a week, and then all of a sudden, I just got the inheritance. I just got the alliance itself, and now I'm in charge of trying to either expand it. Basically, this is where we're currently at. So basically, as you can see where hashtag DOR is at, that's basically where I'm at the moment, where we are currently going for. We can go through many countless scenarios, and it really sort of depends on how we view it. And for me personally, I would probably go for Valo, V capital A capital V A, so forth. Is currently located because of the farm. They only have one farm, honestly speaking, but that would really help us with the resources in terms of food wise. And as we can see here, 93 UN and PA U4 are at the moment kind of formidable opponents, which we will have to deal with a little bit later on. Hence, at the moment, it looks like we somewhat built a barrier in the process when I was still here. I made it mandatory for all of my alliance members to teleport to our base, so that we can then secure it in some aspects, and also to, how should I put it, be able to engage in more rallies, and then we can build the banners a little bit more effectively within a timely manner. And over here, as you can see here, this is a holy site in which once is controlled, you'll be able to have your name sort of ingrained, or your alliance name gets ingrained into it, so that people would know who is in charge of that holy site. And also, I want to thank Oxydoxy for joining us, and want to thank Kevin4700 for also following. Nevertheless, as we see here, basically, what it used to be, when in terms of rank, it was in disarray, honestly speaking. It was basically out of place, and I didn't really know where we're coming from. So basically, I have decided to reorganize this in terms of 4 sides. So at the moment, these were rank officers, or officers that were already in place there before I even became a leader. So for the first one, for ranks in particular, I kind of researched this a little bit more and try to get a better understanding of it. In ranks, rank 4 in particular are officers, which you can assign in 4 different roles. So there's a counselor, which is territory management, resource allocation, event planning is all under control. Building speed, 1%, resource speed plus 1%, only for those that have the counselor position, and you only can assign one person with one role. Warlord, war is an art form, and I'm a virtuoso. Troop attack plus 1%, troop defense plus 1%. Envoy, diplomacy. And in terms of this game itself, diplomacy is going to be crucial. Same with the current situation in Ukraine. And also what the current world leaders are doing. Basically, they go for diplomacy first, try to input in sanctions, such as trying to cut off the oligarchs and so forth, before proceeding on to other desperate measures, such as war itself. Because war is the last-ditch effort for every single nation to go for. And honestly speaking, a lot of times I don't see sanctions as quite effective, but seems like it is in the case crippling the Russian economy because they mainly use the SWIFT bank. Nevertheless, Oxydoxy says, please speak slowly. My English is not good. Pardon me for that. I will try to speak as slow as I can in this case. Now, when it comes to, therefore, this is the envoy position. Basically, diplomacy, you get the person who received diplomacy or envoy position gets a troop health plus 1%. And also for Saint, apparently they mentioned about you take over the world, I'll just stay beautiful, which is sometimes a joke, not gonna lie. This is almost like, as Elon Musk once said, like basically he can literally just call himself a techno king, and he can just put that on his tax audit, and that would be like a new role in particular. And it's true. Apparently, in terms of tax wise, like you have like when it comes to, because there's a specific form that CEOs or basically the executives of the company itself or the owners of the company have to fill out, and they can put in some random titles, which really doesn't make sense at times. And I've seen that happen when I was doing my part-time jobs. When I was doing part-time jobs, I've seen some like irrelevant job titles or job titles that were deemed irrelevant in some aspects. Like the duties, I can see they just like they have a whole list of them, all for that one title, in which sometimes the title is like for example, like I'm trying to think of one example in particular, because I've seen some, but I just like basically ignore them later on. But that's just like how jobs these days look like. Like for example, I think in the old days, basically, I think if you're I don't think they would call it like a person who is taking care of the horses as horse boy or some sort, because that would seem incredibly ridiculous, because you're just calling the boy a horse. You're calling the person who's taking care of the horse boy because they are just taking care of horses and maybe they're younger, I suppose. But rather than like, you can probably call him like a horse carrier. I don't know. It's just really like they're just a lot of redundant titles or titles that are just completely irrelevant. And this, for instance, Saint, but it gives you a gathering speed of 10%. That's how crazy it gets. You get 10% gathering speed because you're Saint. Well, I guess it sort of makes sense now. I guess you become a martyr and then people look up to you. I don't know. Are you also streaming on YouTube? Yes, I'm also streaming on YouTube. Basically, as you can see here, this is a tutorial slash quick update, quote unquote. Mainly because I feel like it's necessary to do so, because it's also good to gain better aspects or perspectives of what it is like to be an alliance leader within the game itself, Rise of Kingdoms. And two, and you get the sense of what a member would be like. As you've probably seen within the past 3 tutorial videos that I did so far, basically those are just what is it like to be a member at times. If you're in an alliance that doesn't really communicate too much, yet they're still doing fairly well by occupying resources and also retaining membership. Membership is going to be quite crucial, because as you can see here right now, if we go back to the alliance page, currently we have 61 people out of the 64, and some people may view alliance members as like the more we have, the more merrier it is. Now, you can have a lot of members, but at the same time have a lot of inactive members. With inactive members, that is going to be somewhat of a drag in some aspects to your whole team, because your whole team is trying to focus on a specific goal. Now, if you have people that aren't there, of course, there are a variety of reasons they aren't there, because one, they're either burnt out the game, two, they have their own living circumstances which they have to take care of, and I'm with them because I have to also deal with other circumstances such as work and also school, and also managing a Discord server too. So that's quite a lot to handle already, and also including on top of that streaming as well. So yeah. Those are some of the aspects, and also there's a whole variety of reasons which I can understand. But yeah, are you also streaming? Are you streaming on Twitch? No, I'm not streaming on Twitch. I honestly think that streaming on Twitch was a good experience. However, I didn't really. There isn't enough people watching it in some aspects, or there's like seldom do I have people like watching it or watching the content. But I sometimes do it though, because if I wanted to test out stream, or perhaps even for those that do want to watch Twitch because of the recent content, then I'll do that as well. So hence I'm like streaming both Omelette Arcade and also YouTube at the same time, because like some people, because I find it quite beneficial for both people, both audience in both platforms to also learn the material as well, because of course sometimes I don't want the people who have been following me through Omelette Arcade to get left out in the process. So hence I would try to balance both platforms in particular. Yeah, hopefully that answers the question. And appreciate your your recent comment as well. Your voice is so cool. Honestly, I feel like my voice has gotten a little bit more high pitch, or perhaps even lower. So hopefully the lower the better. But yeah, do you play COD? I don't play COD. I used to play PUBG. Yes, I do. I used to play PUBG Mobile. Dating stuff changed quite a lot. Not gonna lie. Especially when they recently implemented some new changes. Is called it different. Now it's named something different, which is kind of blew me away at times. But nevertheless, I right now I try to stay away from the FPS games, not gonna lie. Just because I kind of gotten tired of it in some aspects. But yeah. Why is your English so good? Well, my English is fairly good, honestly speaking, because I was born here in America, in the US. So that's why I and I've gotten more adapted to it in some aspects because, or I have been, what's the term for it? Americanized, or perhaps uh, there's another word for it. In particular, assimilated to the American culture. Hence, and also the straightening of the teeth, that also helped too, because I remember when I didn't straighten out my teeth or have braces, that's when you would hear a bunch of my own accent involved. So that's why it was really hard to speak to other people, mainly because I didn't mainly because like there would be like a gap between the teeth, the two front teeth, that I wasn't. And basically, the whenever you're pronouncing specific letters or words, it would just create like a brief pause of some sort. I think that's the also reason. But yeah, when would you face review? Face review. I'm kind of debating on it, honestly speaking, because I, even though I have done once, I already done it once in some aspects. Depending if should I accumulate even further? Maybe if I hit like 1K again, I may do like face review while streaming. I think that would probably be a goal later. I honestly don't know um how long it would take to get there, but maybe one day. There's for sure one day. I mean, it's hard getting to 100 subscribers already, so I know how hard it is to at least get 1,000. Do I live with my parents? Yes, I do. Mainly because it is quite expensive living here in the U.S. just in general. Um, so while I'm working and also paying rent in the process, I live with my parents. So, and obviously, in the traditional culture, it's best that you move out of your home, because so that you can become independent. But unfortunately, with the recent factors, for example, inflation, the high cost of living per capita, perhaps like even including food. Food has also increased, gas increased, electricity increased. So much of the everyday necessities have also increased in the process. That's what makes it even more harder, uh, from what I'm seeing. And hence, I'm doing my best to at least go through multiple, or at least find multiple ways of actually creating a stream of income. And some of the advice that I would give to those that are younger than me would be to start investing. Of course, investing in companies that you would say that you find as a necessity. Oil is a necessity. Electricity is a necessity. Those are the companies that will be staying around, I would say, for the longest period of time until something happens, perhaps with the electricity. Let's say like a dam got destroyed, or perhaps some nation deploys a device which would jam all signals, which basically will make the internet irrelevant in this case. Uh, hence, but electricity possibly. Um, it to a certain extent really depends. So yeah, um, I know I could do better in life. That's for the fact. However, and that's what I'm still working on. It's just an everyday progress that needs to be conducted each day, to make sure that either one, the goal is completed, and two, that the improvement is made. So that's one of the advices, basically, to start investing. That's good. Second, if you don't feel comfortable in investing, you can always start out with certified deposits, which right now the interest is still fairly low in comparison to the days of the baby boomers. Baby boomers will have at least more than 5% and so forth. But now, maybe you'll get at least 0.5 to 0.7%. And what I highly recommend is Goldman Sachs by Marcus. That's something that I recommend starting out when you're creating your certified deposits. That's how I started off with certified deposits before investing in stocks, and also at least keeping, as Dave Ramsey once said, to keep an emergency savings of at least $1,000. $1,000 can go far. Later on, maybe not, but for now, it's good to at least keep some form of emergency savings or emergency funds. Aside from the life or experience that I've gone through, let's go ahead and resume back to the Rise of Kingdom tutorial. Now, over here, we can see technology, which technology is going to be quite crucial. To either one, you can increase the capacity for your alliance itself. Two, you can also improve the technology, such as increasing the building speed if you do city construction 1, and technology research, regular army, which damages increase when you're attacking barbarians, and 2 or 4 would be commander XP, will be an increase. Now, fully loaded is something that we're trying to aim for, so hopefully we can reach there someday. I don't have an exact time and date at the moment, so we're just gonna have to go forward with it. Now, resuming back to the ranks and so forth, so as for the moment, what I've decided to do, at first I had in mind was 750k power and above, that would be rank 3, and then 450k or so for rank 2, and then below that will be rank 1. Now, then I kind of noticed after I sorted everything out. Basically, some people were at the 200,000 range, so some people had the motivation to strive towards the power, and some did not. So I became more lenient. So I decided like 10 minutes later that I would at least adjust it to 500k power for rank 3, and then 250k power and above, or 210k power and above for rank 2. And I want to, of course, create some form of mobility for them to go for, or at least some sort of goal so that they can strive towards. That's also one of the main objectives that I'm trying to enforce when it comes to running an alliance. That's what I did for the time back in my old world, or back in my main account. And of course, running an alliance is no easy task, especially if you're really dived into it, because you have to, as I mentioned before, you have to take care of the territory, know where you're building your banners. 2, you need to manage your storehouse, make sure that you're accountable for all the resources being used. And 3, war is going to be later on, especially when you have your banners or center fortress scouted by enemies, looking for ways to at least attack by retrieving as much details. And then 4, for gifts, we have to keep in, I think for shop, we have to keep in mind of how much alliance credit we have, so that we can give our members a chance to at least accumulate some rewards. Like, for example, it costs 50,000 alliance credit to stock 1 territorial teleport when we have only 2 million within the coffers. So we have to be really careful with how much we spend in this case. I don't think it's too much to even spend for teleport for others to at least be able to do so. But that is gonna be a little bit later. So we'll just have to see how much. We'll go ahead and actually do that so that people can start teleporting. So we'll spend at least 250,000 on it, so that people can at least can purchase it for 150,000, and they can at least teleport it to us without having to use their own resources or gems. Gems is quite useful. At the same time, it does cost like personal costs or personal money in this case. Like personal money as in like your own hardworking money, such as what you get paid in an actual job or a regular job. And that's something that needs to be considered. For me personally, I tried for this specific account as well. Basically, what happens is this. Now, keep in mind, this is a free-to-play game, so I try to at least spend none of my money on this game, and I try to keep it as free-to-play as it is. So basically, as you can see here, this in particular requires you to spend more than at least $1 in order to achieve this commander, which I personally would not do for the long-term investment. And honestly, I already got this commander in the previous accounts, so it's not necessary for me to do so. Now, if that is gone, that means that I've already spent some money into this game. So that's a huge indicator. So that's why I try to avoid it as much as I could, even though it is quite tempting, not gonna lie. And yeah, nevertheless, let's go ahead and continue our tutorial with some of the other parts to it. So let's go for, if we click on this gear settings, you have several options for you to go for. You can see the alliance list, which everyone can do, whether you're a member or not. You can always see who's on top or where you're at, so that you can at least make sure to, you can also use that as a way of promoting your specific alliance and etc. Like for example, we're currently, I want to say, holy snap, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. So we're considered the top 30 alliances, quote unquote, for right now. So hence it's gonna take some time to at least climb back up. And honestly speaking, I don't know how long I'm gonna stay as a leader for this alliance, because of course it is quite time consuming, and you have to make sure everything is done properly according, which will help grow your alliance and also maintain its survivability. Now we can see over here, let's say if someone applies for this alliance, you will always see alliance or applicants. Officers can handle it, and also you can handle it, or the leaders can handle it. And then you can sort it out by powers, you can sort it out by kills. Just keep that in mind. You can always do that. For the meantime, I would adjust it to power in particular. Now for rankings, you can always check the rankings wherever you're at. Right now it seems like top spot in resources system alliance help, and would be the 121 431. Oh my goodness, this is a long number list. And individual power is true. Killing machine is is this Hamas? I think it's Hamas. That's actually something I'm probably considering. Let's see. Is Mons, let's see here, or maybe I'm thinking he's slightly above. Okay, probably. Let me just check back again. That has actually gotten my attention. Oh, I guess. Okay, that's really weird. I thought I spotted him earlier. Oh, there you are. Okay. Okay, so technically, so if we, okay, sometimes we have to also look at it from other perspectives. In terms of kill, right? Sometimes, because what happens is that you're transferring your individual power to kill points. And of course, if you click on here, kill points is based on how many kills, how many got injured. What this is how many kills in particular. And it was recorded as of September 23rd, 2019. Huh. Wow. That's quite some time, actually. So then, if we add it all up, technically, he will be evaluated by 400k power. That's technically 400k power, from my understanding. So it is now something that I need to consider, in particular, because if we look at info, they're roughly about 250k, I want to say, and I think we need to get at least 450k, so I'll just go ahead and add on top of it. It's based on info. It's technically around 230k ish. Let me see, info. Okay, that's a lot to consider, honestly speaking, and just being able to see like who's currently where they're at, it allows me to then identify the possible candidates for becoming a specific officer. That's basically the mentality of what a leader or the alliance leader would be at, because we have to look at it from multiple perspectives aside from the game itself. Because we sometimes, honestly speaking, we treat it as if it was, how should I put it? We treat it as if we treat this as part of us in some ways, I suppose. It's almost like managing a Discord server or owning it in some ways. At first you may say, "Oh, it's just a way for me to communicate," but at the same time, the ideas start to branch out. It branch out to how to retain membership, how to gain membership, how to promote it, which leads to like business ideas such as business marketing and so forth. Then you have to see what motivates your members. Why did they even come back? Are they a fan of yours through YouTube? Are they a fan of yours through Twitch? Do they come for your content through YouTube? Do they come in for the giveaways, etc.? It's trying to understand the motives of the audience that are coming in, or the people that are coming in. And of course, I treat them like my family members because I always like meeting people that are, or someone new in process. Hence, and also I try to treat others as others would like to be treated. So that's just part of it in process. Now, continue forward. We have settings right here. Now, my recent alliance recent former alliance leader basically implemented this announcement, which I find quite interesting. I never done this before in my life, or never have seen this. Basically, they would adjust it in a format which allows them to then create it in a create this banner, so that they use lesser than B, greater than B, and then etc. for size, the title, the size of it, and so forth. But the later on, I basically readjusted the description. We had to flesh it out. So at the moment, I put alliance. I also put the rankings, how it's determined, etc. Where some of the requirements. My goodness. Requirements. Let's teleport to our base. Language preference, English, and Discord community via the YouTube channel. And I think I can finally click OK, and then I can confirm. And then if we go back here, you have the choice of saying anyone can join, which that would mean that you have a variety of incoming powers such as 10k power and less that would join as well, and which can sometimes be an issue. So that's why I would put application needed, so that when they can fill it, all they're doing is just selecting like apply before they can, and then we'll just review whether or not their criteria meets it before we then continue forward with it. You can also adjust the language by clicking on the 3 dots to see whether you want it to be English only, you could be all language, etc. At the moment, the all languages is fine with me, because fortunately right now, if we click on the group chat right here, you can always you can always translate it. So for example, this guy Evar 777, this is a whole bunch of sevens. You can, if you click on this like A, and then kind of, it's actually more of like a Google Translate, and then once you click on that, you can see what he commented in Russian or Ukrainian. I don't know what it is. It looks more like, oh wait, yeah, it looks more like Russian. So then it says 3 officers out of 6 are not playable players. DK and stats leaves much to be desired, which is understandable, because the people who have inherited or people who were in place were there before me. Hence, by the time I arrived, this is where I got. So I may continue to, of course, I will adjust to as time progresses. We'll see how far it'll go. We'll look into other, some of my criteria that I have in mind was basically initiatives, being active, and also being able to lend resources, etc. And 2 would be the second one was kind of interesting. Communications, because you have to be punctual, be effective, because when it comes to diplomacy, we don't want one word to be screwed up, because other than that, it would just screw up the diplomatic relations, and then from that point, basically our whole entire alliance will be in danger because of that. So that's why I try to at least formulate templates, so that it's a lot more easier for me to respond in some ways. So yeah, and nevertheless, that is just a brief tutorial for what an alliance management looks like. And then, of course, you can just disband it only if you're an alliance leader. And alliance log, you can also see the members, like where they ranked up or what was the result of it. Holy snap! Wow, there's some names that I find kind of fascinating that or find kind of weird that just popped in. And then you can also see the battles, who attack our flag, and it looks like we had two in particular. We had Quesarito from PAL 4 and one from Dao on VN. So that was before that. That was quite some time ago. Now, we can also see the events, what has happened as well. This is like a log, or as it already indicates, the alliance log. You can see what was the history of it, of these situations itself. And nevertheless, and also just keep in mind, when you're changing names of the alliance itself or the tag, if you click on this pencil, it basically, once you have added like a letter of some sort, like a dork or some sort, you have to pay additional 500 gems. That's the only issue with it. So just keep that in mind when you do decide to change the name of your alliance, whether it be the tag or the name itself. And nevertheless, that's basically what this tutorial is about, and I'm glad that I thank everyone for joining me for it. And holy snap, this is in Russian. That I need to figure out. Let me see. Time to Google Translate real quick. Wow, he is Russian. That was a good one. Appreciate it, Oxydoxy, for responding to that. Alright, gotta go. I need to study. Alright, wishing you continued success in your studies, in particular. Oxydoxy, and thank you for joining me. And nevertheless, we saw how much we've grown, and I guess there's gonna be some mounted issues considering the current situation, or the demographics of our current situation that we're gonna have to endure. I don't know how long this will last, so just so definitely feel free. Well, I continue to appreciate for those that recently do watch this, and if you do find this quite helpful, please leave a like and also subscribe for more of this content as well. And keep in mind, I am a variety gamer, so sometimes I may stream other games that unexpectedly does occur. And like sometimes I think from what I've seen so far, I've been kind of consistent with Wild Speed streaming or World Warship Blitz streaming, and right now frequently it's been Rise of Kingdoms, trying to provide as much information as I can and so forth. I think there was also one other advice that I wanted to give, because I think it was mainly the teleportation issue. Now, teleportation. If we go to items and then we click on other, I pointed out that there's at least 4 types to be exact. One is the beginner's teleportation, which you're given 2 of them in the beginning before you hit City Hall or City Town level 8. You have the targeted teleport where you can use it at a designated location. For example, let's go ahead and use it. Let's go ahead and find a remote place that I want to teleport to. Let's say I wanted to go to Vigo. Yes. Okay. Click on items, and then we'll click on targeted teleport, and we have to apparently occupy passes in order to do so. So that's one limitation. The second limitation, from what I've seen, is that you'll probably see operations like this one. Please, what was it? Operation something. You can only perform this operation in an open area. Please make sure da da da. Now, the reason why it's saying that is because currently I have troops that are being stationed somewhere else or being used at the moment. Hence, therefore, you won't be able to teleport while having your men somewhere else. So make sure to recall all of your troops and so forth before being able to use the targeted teleport. And also make sure to check if the area that you're planning to teleport to is an open field. Basically, no forests, no barbarian forts, no barbarians nearby that is blocking the way of it. So just keep that in mind. And also, if we click on the other tab, the random teleport, from what I've tested out before in my primary account, basically it'll just give you a random location. Sometimes it's like a hit or miss, honestly speaking, so hence I highly would avoid it unless if you're just doing it for fun of it. Then go for it. Go for the random teleport. Territorial teleport is going to be quite crucial and also the only way that people can use territorial teleport is when you have a base or a center fortress created before you can do anything else, before you can build alliance banners, etc. Center fortress is going to be the first thing you want to build before you can expand on to obtaining resources, etc. And hence, therefore, our team has gone this far out there. Now, given that this Velo has a pretty decent... Okay, so it basically... Has he hit Iron Age yet? Let me see what's their current situation. Holy snap, you just woke, Mr. Mike? Hey, appreciate you for joining me, and also those that recently are joining as well. Yeah, I think it's... Honestly speaking, my phone shut down while I was streaming in the first part, so I had to create the second part, and there was a lot of topics to cover in the process, so I just wanted to at least explain or elaborate some of the areas that needed to be covered before I sleep as well, because right now it's 1:33 a.m. so yeah. Yeah, so Alliance members currently, they have a decent size. 444 and probably 465, or technically 510, is giving me an indication that one, they already built up to maybe Town Hall level 13 to... No, level 14 to level 15. That's a possibility. And also them hitting the Iron Age, the Feudal Age, or the... Is it Feudal Age? No, Feudal Age... Let's see, let me go back to here. Dark Age. So they're probably in the... They could possibly be arriving on the Dark Age, but I can't say for certain. It's most likely the case though. So yeah, this is something that we are looking forward to as we grow, and I think it is gonna take us some time to at least figure this whole shebang out, because there's a lot to cover in this area, we have to deal with the 93 UN and also PAU4, and also have to deal with the time differences that my members have, which I honestly right now I don't even know how many of the people are inactive and how many people are. I probably can say a handful of people have already been active, and like and mostly inactive people. It's almost like Discord, my Discord server in some ways. My Discord server is like, we have like 240 members, I want to say 239 members, or 238 members so far, and like there's like a handful of people that are willing to talk and so forth, so that's almost like that, not gonna lie. And yeah, hopefully should any war break out and so forth, we'll try to stream it out as well, so that you all can see what it's like to be in part of the war, or perhaps in a KVK, Kingdom versus Kingdom event. And then we'll probably you're gonna see a massive lag. That's what you're gonna see basically, from my understanding of the KVK, because it can get quite brutal. But nevertheless, I think I covered most of what I needed to say and also needed to teach. So nevertheless, if you all have something in mind, especially when it comes to Rise of Kingdoms, please leave a comment on the section below. That would be quite helpful in some aspects, and I'll go ahead and try to update the time stamps a little bit later, so that you all don't how should I put it, get lost within like the past 52 minutes of the stream. So yeah, just like I've done already for the previous tutorials, I've already did the timestamps for it, so that you can also check on segments, and also you can feel free to watch the whole thing. I mean, the whole thing may be beneficial to you. You may be able to at least get some sort of nuggets and process, nuggets of wisdom or some sort. But yeah, definitely, as you can see, still grinding. We'll try to hit 1 mil power sooner or later, mainly because we need to, or 1.2 mil to get the Iron Guard, and also 500k to get Drill Master. So that's my goal in mind, try to at least hit 1 mil before the end of the month if possible. I think right now we are on our way to it. We just had to upgrade this level 13 town hall or city hall, which is gonna take quite some time. And I need Alliance Center to be leveled up. As for time boost, I'm sort of limited to it, so nice. Actually got some 60 minutes. That actually might help me out. So I'll just go ahead and do that, pop that out, and then pop in 5 minutes. Then we'll go ahead and try to upgrade this level 13, proceeding on forward to so mainly right now, as we can see here, we need level 13 wall, level 13 alliance center, and level 13 training post, which is going to take some time as well. I try to level up my academy so that we can upgrade on technology wise. That's going to help us out. We're going to try to upgrade the storage house in some ways a little bit later, so that we can then safeguard the 1.5 mil resources, 1.6 wood, 1.4 stone, etc. That's going to be beneficial to us. And I think that's almost about it. Yeah, I couldn't really think of something else to cover aside from the fact that I already done so for most of the topics so far. But yeah, thank you all for joining me, and looking forward to seeing you all in the next stream, and so forth. And peace out from Samurai 12, and God bless each and every one of you, despite the current devastating situation so far.